Have you ever felt that unsettling prickle on the back of your neck when you read deep in the woods? That feeling like you're not just being watched by squirrels and birds, but by something older? California is famous for its sun-drenched beaches and bustling cities, but it also holds vast ancient forests. And some of them, like the one I'm about to tell you about, keep their secrets buried deep. This isn't just another campfire story. This happened to a group of friends, experienced hikers, who thought they knew the Northern California wilderness like the back of their hands. They were wrong. Our story begins with four friends. Liam, the seasoned leader. Maya, the group's navigator and geologist. Ben, the photographer always chasing the perfect shot. And Chloe, the newest to the group, but bursting with enthusiasm. Their plan was a 3-day trek through a remote section of the Shasta Trinity National Forest, a place known for its breathtaking beauty and eerie silence. They were chasing rumors of a hidden waterfall, a place so secluded it wasn't on any official map. The first day was perfect. The sun filtered through the colossal redwoods, dappling the forest floor in gold. The air smelled of pine and damp earth. Ben couldn't stop snapping photos, capturing the vibrant greens and the sheer scale of the trees that seemed to touch the sky. They made camp by a babbling creek, their laughter echoing in the otherwise silent woods. As night fell, they sat around a crackling fire, sharing stories, feeling that pure disconnected joy that only comes from being truly in nature. But even then, Liam felt it. A subtle shift in the atmosphere. The usual chorus of crickets and frogs was strangely absent. The silence wasn't peaceful anymore. It was heavy, expectant. He shook it off as first-night jitters. The second day, the trail became less defined. Maya, with her GPS and topographical maps, guided them confidently, but the forest was changing. The trees grew closer together, their branches intertwining overhead, blocking out the sun and creating a perpetual twilight. Moss hung from every surface like old, tattered rags. A strange metallic scent, like old rust and cold stone, hung in the air. Chloe, usually so cheerful, fell quiet, her eyes darting nervously into the shadows between the trees. It was around noon when they found the first one. A strange carving on the trunk of a massive sequoia. It wasn't modern graffiti or a Park Service marker. It was a complex spiral, etched deep into the bark, looking impossibly old. Maya ran her fingers over it. "This isn't any Native American symbol I recognize," she murmured, a frown creasing her brow. "The weathering on this ... It's ancient." As they pushed deeper, they found more of them. The spirals appeared on rocks, on fallen logs, and on the trunks of trees, always just off the path, as if guiding them or perhaps warning them. Ben, intrigued, took photos of each one, but he noticed something odd. In his camera's viewfinder, the spirals seemed to shimmer, almost pulsate, a trick of the light he couldn't quite explain. The unease in the group was palpable now. The feeling of being watched intensified. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of leaves made them jump. Liam suggested turning back, but Maya, stubborn and driven by curiosity, insisted the waterfall must be close. "The geography suggests a gorge just ahead," she argued. "That has to be it." Reluctantly, they pressed on. They finally broke through the dense thicket into a small bowl-shaped clearing. And there it was. Not a majestic waterfall, but a stagnant, dark pool of water fed by a mere trickle seeping from a rock face. The rock itself was covered in those spirals, larger and more intricate than any they'd seen before. The air was thick and cold, and the metallic smell was overpowering. The place felt fundamentally wrong, dead. There were no birds, no insects. Just an oppressive silence that hummed with a low, inaudible frequency. "This is it?" Chloe whispered, her voice trembling. "This is what we came for?" That's when Ben, looking at his camera, let out a choked gasp. "Guys, look." He showed them the screen. He had taken a picture of the rock face. In the photo, within the dark water of the pool, faint, pale shapes could be seen. They looked disturbingly like human faces, their mouths open in silent screams, just beneath the surface. They all stared at the actual pool. Nothing. The water was dark and murky, but empty. Ben frantically took another photo. Same result. The ghostly faces appeared only through the lens of his camera. Panic began to set in. This place wasn't just old, it was haunted, cursed. "We're leaving," Liam said, his voice firm, grabbing Chloe's arm. "Now." As they turned to leave, a sound echoed from the woods behind them. It wasn't an animal. It was a low, guttural chanting, a rhythmic, repetitive sound that seemed to come from all directions at once. It was a human voice, yet utterly inhuman. They didn't wait to see what was making it. They ran. Blindly, they crashed through the undergrowth, branches whipping at their faces. The chanting followed, seeming to keep pace with them no matter how fast they ran. It was a language they didn't understand, but the intent was clear: malice. Pure, ancient malice. They ran for what felt like hours, fueled by pure adrenaline. The sun was setting, plunging the forest into darkness. Maya, trying to navigate while running, tripped, and her GPS skittered across the forest floor, its screen cracking. They were lost. The chanting finally faded, replaced by that same heavy silence from the night before. Huddled together in the dark, shivering with fear and exhaustion, they knew they were being hunted. Every shadow seemed to move. They thought they saw tall, slender figures flitting between the trees at the edge of their vision, but they were never there when they looked directly. The night was an eternity of terror. They heard whispers on the wind, their own names spoken in dry, rasping voices. Something circled their small, hidden camp, its footsteps heavy and deliberate. They didn't dare make a fire. They just sat back to back listening, waiting for the dawn. When morning finally came, painting the sky in shades of gray, they found a new spiral carved into a tree not 10 feet from where they had been hiding. It hadn't been there before. They knew, with sickening certainty, that whatever was out there was toying with them. They were no longer hikers. They were prey in a game they didn't understand. With the little light they had, they chose a direction and just walked, desperate to find a familiar landmark. The forest seemed to fight them, the terrain growing steeper, the undergrowth thicker. It felt like the woods themselves were actively trying to keep them there. For 2 more days they wandered, their food and water dwindling. They were exhausted, paranoid, and on the verge of breaking. Ben had smashed his camera, terrified of what else it might show him. Chloe was barely responsive, lost in a state of shock. On the 3rd morning, just as they were about to give up hope, Liam spotted something through the trees, a glint of metal. A fire lookout tower. They had never been so happy to see a sign of civilization. They stumbled towards it, calling out for help. A ranger, a grizzled man with kind eyes, found them on the access road. He took one look at their ragged state and ushered them inside, giving them water and blankets. He listened to their frantic, jumbled story, the spirals, the pool, the chanting, the figures in the dark. When they finished, the ranger was silent for a long time, his face grim. He looked out the window into the endless sea of trees. "You kids were lucky," he said, his voice low. "You stumbled into a place you shouldn't have. There are stories. Old stories. The settlers called them the Silent Ones. They say this forest belongs to them. Most people who go looking for that place don't come back. The forest just swallows them." He told them they were the first he'd ever met who had seen the spirals and returned. He advised them to forget what they saw, to never ever go back. Liam, Maya, Ben, and Chloe left the forest that day, but a part of them never did. They carried the silence, the fear, and the memory of those spirals with them. They learned that some places are left alone for a reason, and that there are secrets in the wild that are not meant for human eyes. So next time you're hiking and you feel that prickle on your neck, and the woods go unnaturally quiet, maybe it's best to just turn around and walk away. Thanks for sticking with me through that chilling tale. The world is full of mysteries we can't explain. If you enjoy exploring the unknown, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories. Stay safe out there and never stop questioning.